Well, hi and welcome to another What I've Watched video. I just looked on YouTube on my uploaded videos and I realized that my last one of these was uploaded on November 18th. Today is December 12th. That's almost a month, not really, but almost. And I don't have a whole lot of stuff to show you. Definitely enough for one, medium length video. And why is that? Well, first of all, I have some movies that I'm not going to talk about. I just don't really have anything to say about them. Second, being December, I have watched some Christmas stuff, so I could talk about those here, even though I just picked them out from my collection and they're not really new titles. But I am planning on doing a Christmas video and I'm going to talk about them in that one. And then I've been watching Criterion's, and they have a lot of special features and a lot of stuff to watch, so they kind of take time to get through. You can spend a lot of time with them. And I've been watching The Simpsons and listening to the commentaries, and I just don't have a whole lot of stuff to talk about, considering it's been over 3 weeks. Anyway, I have some stuff. Let's start with an absolutely horrible movie. This is Sand Sharks. I believe that Marco the movie fan left a comment on a video where I talked about where I showed this, I don't know which one, but I responded to him like, I don't think that's a movie that I would ever want to watch on my own. That's not a movie that I would turn on my if I'm on my own. Well, I did. For some reason I felt like watching this and I was not bored. Strangely, this was one of those rare occasions where an absolutely horrible movie did not bore me at all. I did not like it. It's fucking horrible, it really is. But I don't know, it was enjoyable. It was dumb enough and entertaining enough to be enjoyable all the way through. And not recommended. It is absolutely horrible, but yeah, it was a fun watch, I guess. I'll just show 3 movies here that, well, actually I don't have too much to say about these either, but let's just mention them anyway. Murder Party, kind of like a horror comedy that I thought was pretty tame in the first half, and then it kind of picked up after that, but I didn't really care for it overall. Maverick with Mel Gibson, Jodie Foster, James Garner, by Richard Donner, kind of like a family type western movie. It's okay, nothing great, but it was enjoyable. And then we have Gracie's Choice, which was kind of cheesy. It might be a made-for-TV movie. It seems like it is pretty it's kind of cheesy. You kind of know what to expect, but it was fine. And then we have Weed Season 8, which I can't say I enjoyed too much. It's just, one of those shows that went on for a little bit, it went on for a little bit too long, or longer than it needed to. But yeah, not the strongest season. Can't say I enjoyed that season too much. I have enjoyed all of the other ones, even though maybe 7 and 6 haven't been too great either. I have enjoyed them, but this one, I'm not so sure if I did. We got a major classic here, On the Waterfront with Marlon Brando. I wasn't a huge fan of this. I wasn't blown away. I mean, there are some really good stuff in here. I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't. I wasn't a big fan of it. But it was good. I just expected to like it more. Then we got a Robert Altman movie, and this is Gosford Park. I've had this forever. This is a pretty cool movie. It takes place in the early 20th century, or maybe late 19th century. I'm not sure. But it takes place in this upper class, or almost like aristocratic people, and there's a big gathering in the beginning of the movie, and tons of characters are introduced almost relentlessly. It's very difficult to keep track of everybody. And it's basically a family and the relatives to the family and some friends, and then the butlers and servants who work for the family, and all of them gathered together for sort of like a big party, you could say, or a big gathering, and it's very well made. The first half of it is just all these characters interacting, and it portrays this time and this house in which it all takes place so well, and it's very, very enjoyable. I did have to watch certain things twice just because there were a few characters where I kind of missed who they were, so I went back and watched some stuff again. But then after the second half or so, a murder happens, and it turns into a murder mystery, kind of like an Agatha Christie type thing. And I was, man, I really didn't enjoy. I thought that was unnecessary. I didn't think that it, you know, that they needed to add that. I thought that it got less interesting after that point, and I would have liked it to continue in the vein of the first half and develop in some other way, not with a murder. I didn't think that worked very well. Could have been an absolutely great movie. The first half is absolutely great. Second half makes the movie, you know, still good, but I would have liked something else, to be honest. Then we got a Norwegian movie called Manus. This is about the guy with that same name who worked in the Resistance. He worked as well, they kind of mentioned that in the movie. Is he a patriot or is he a terrorist? Because he is Norwegian, but you know he destroys for the Germans, the Nazis who were occupying Norway, I guess. So he and a group of other people, they work against the Germans as this underground movement, trying to sabotage certain things for the Nazis. And I thought the movie was pretty well made. Certain visuals look absolutely great, especially one sequence in the water as they're on one of their missions. They're trying to sabotage this one thing, and it's sort of in during the night and in this dock or whatever it's called, and these big boats everywhere, and the camera kind of moving very nicely, and the lights go, I don't know, it just looks really good. So I was impressed by certain sequences, and I thought that it was, you know, pretty good. Then we got season 1 of Homeland. I finally got around to checking this out. Really did enjoy it. I have actually put the second season on my wish list for Christmas, so we'll see if I'll get it. If I don't, then I'm gonna pick it up eventually, of course. But I really did like this. I thought that this was very enjoyable, very interesting. Each episode sort of has something else, something new to offer. It takes various interesting turns as it, you know, goes by, and yeah, I really liked it. So looking forward to continuing with that, and great performances too by Claire Danes, Damian Lewis, and Mandy Patinkin, especially the three of them. They're the main three characters, I guess, but yeah, very enjoyable. Then we get the Godfather Part 2, which, you know, I talked about the first one in my last update, I think, or in my last video, and this one, as well as the first one, they're part of a box set, but I'll show them separately. This one I mainly enjoyed the part that I enjoyed the most with this was the first flashback sequence, not the opening sequence, but the first flashback sequence with Robert De Niro in New York, I guess. That was so well made. Reminded me of Once Upon a Time in America. Had that same sort of visual quality to it, and you know, the Godfather movies, or the first two, I haven't seen the third one yet, but I've heard that it's, you know, inferior. But the Godfather movies, I think they're great. I can obviously see why people like them so much, but I myself, I can't say that I think that they're anything more than great. I mean, yeah, great movies, but, you know, compared to 2001, for example, they're, you know, so-so. Because maybe 2001 and The Godfather, they're two of the, you know, ultimate classics in film, I guess, and maybe are usually put on the same sort of level of quality, or you know what I mean. But to me, there's a big difference. Anyway, I don't know if that made sense, but let's move on. Moving on from The Godfather Part 2 to Living Will. I just have very random order here. This one is, well, I'm just gonna mention, obviously it's you have Bam Margera and Ryan Dunn on the cover, and most people will know that there is a bit of a, or was a bit of a bromance thing going on between the two of them. You know, they were very good friends in real life, and this movie is described as a movie about a bromance, and since they have the two of them on the cover, you expect the bromance to be with them, but it's not. Bam Margera, he just plays this hillbilly at a bar in a 3-minute sequence, whatever, and the bromance is actually between Ryan Dunn and this other guy, and it's a really bad movie, but in a way enjoyable. It's just, it's kind of depressing though. I mean, I don't know why it's not thematically depressing. I mean, in a way it is too, but that's not what I'm talking about. It's just depressing for some reason. It's just pretty low quality, and it just makes you want to watch something else. But I watched all of it. I didn't think that I would, but I did for some reason. And it's not fun. It's bad, but I'll still say that it's fine because I did watch all of it. I was kind of entertained by it. Whatever. It's not recommended, though. Then we have season 14 of South Park. You know, still a very enjoyable show. Used to be better, but I'm looking forward to getting more of that. This one I watched last night actually, and I don't know exactly what to say about it. It's The Seventh Seal. It was good, for sure. I'm gonna watch it again though. Certain sequences really got to me, like the procession of plague. Because the movie, if you haven't seen it, it takes place during the plague during the 14th century, or whatever, in medieval times at least. And there's this procession, maybe half an hour into the movie, and this is out of context too, but that comes along and with people sort of whipping themselves and and well, whatever. But that sequence was. There's a lot more to it, like I said. I'm just really bad at explaining it. But that sequence was, you know, really, really good. And then there's this other sequence in particular, or a couple other sequences which I enjoyed. However, certain parts, they just dragged on a little bit for me. There was a lot of dialogue which was well written, it's very well acted, but I just felt like it was kind of uninteresting in some parts. Overall, the movie is great, and I will for sure watch it again. It deserves to be a classic, and I'm glad that I've seen it. But I don't really mean that the comedy is out of place. It's not really. Kind of adds a little bit to the absurdity of it all. I don't know if that was Bergman's intention, but certain things I could have done without. Anyway, we get another criterion here. This is Fantastic Mr. Fox. This I was really looking forward to checking this out again, and right as the movie started, I was like, well, I'm gonna end up liking this a lot more than last time. I did like it last time, but I just sort of fell in love with the images that the movie right away delivered, and that sort of, well, a little while into the movie, because in the first part of the movie you have such beautiful, such gorgeous visuals of this rural landscape, of this these fields, and the stop motion looks great. The colors are really, you know, visually beautiful, or you know, looks beautiful, and just a lot of great things with the movie. I just really loved it in the first part, and then because of this one reason, which I'm not gonna spoil, I guess, they have to go underground, and these subterranean sequences and also what follows throughout the rest of the movie, I just felt wasn't as interesting as the first part. And I've seen it before, and I knew, I sort of knew what was gonna come, but you know, I couldn't remember exactly what I felt. I didn't know what I was gonna feel about it the second time, basically. And that, I mean, it ends up ultimately it is a very good movie, but it doesn't take the #1 spot, which I thought that it would, you know, when I started watching it. But it doesn't take the #1 spot over Grand Budapest Hotel. I still think that that's the best movie that Wes Anderson has made. This might come on second place though, although Life Aquatic, I really like that too. Anyway, overall a very good movie, but if it just would have remained in the same quality as the first part. I know I say that pretty often, the second part was inferior, whatever. I don't know why. It just it's just like that fairly often for me. Anyway, then we got a documentary. Unboxed this one pretty recently. This is I Am Santa Claus, and this follows, begins in January or, well, February, in the beginning of the year, and from then on it follows 5 different real, or not real life Santa Clauses, but actual, you know, professional Santa Clauses, from, you know, up to Christmas. It follows them from January or whatever to December, and it's about their lives when they're not Santa Clauses, and then as the season arrives, it's about them preparing for another year of working as Santa Claus. And it's, you know, it puts a lot of emphasis on the fact that, you know, these jolly, it kind of says something like that on the back too, but these jolly old men, jolly red men, never mind, but these jolly men, they also have problems, and they're not exactly the Santa Claus personality during the whole year. Especially one of the Santa Claus people, you know, he had some problems for sure. But anyway, it was pretty good. I really did enjoy watching it. I'd recommend checking it out if you like documentaries, if you know, especially now before Christmas and everything. Speaking of Christmas, this is a movie called Merry Christmas, but it's a French movie, so it has a French title, Joyeux Noël something. And I talked about this recently too. In fact, I unboxed it along with I Am Santa Claus. And like I said in that video, this takes place during World War I, and it's about the soldiers in the trenches. They fraternize. Well, they bond, and they celebrate Christmas together, the different sides of the war. And you know, it's based on historical events that happened apparently on many different occasions, not just you know, in this one trench, but apparently might have happened on several places around Europe or around France or whatever. I'm not entirely sure, but the director said something like that in the interview that is also on the disc. And the movie was good. Yeah, it was good, pretty good. This one, another Criterion, The Night of the Hunter. Lots of people have talked about this recently. I'll just mention that some visuals in here are really great, like the river sequence, the famous river sequence. I wanted that to go on for longer because it gave me such. It was so atmospheric. It gave me such. What? There's a word in Swedish called suggestive, but I do not know what the English translation is, so I'll try to write something here. But if I remember correctly, there's no really good translation to that word. But kind of like atmospheric, making you feel things mysterious in a way. I don't know how to describe it. But that sequence, the river sequence, and a couple of visuals that followed, they were so effective, so well filmed. And also on here you have something called, on disc 2, Charles Laughton, the director of the movie. Charles Laughton directs The Night of the Hunter, a 2.5-hour treasure trove of outtakes and behind-the-scenes footage. This is really fascinating. It's a 2.5-hour featurette. where the director Charles Laughton is directing the movie. Or well, basically he didn't cut. He kept the camera rolling. So you know, in the archives there were all of these outtakes and bloopers, I guess, and you hear Charles Laughton's voice from behind the camera directing everybody, and he's, you know, trying to get it absolutely right. You know, Robert Mitchum, he screws up. Laughton, he directs the children, they do something, and Laughton is like, no, you need to do that, you need to say that a little bit louder, or a little bit differently, or you need to be quicker there, or you're in the wrong position, or, you know. So the camera sometimes is rolling for about 10 minutes maybe, and they're trying to get the scene right, and eventually they get it right, and you recognize the scene from the movie, I guess. And it's really fascinating to see, because there's not a whole lot of that kind of stuff around, you know, especially with a movie from the 50s, to see in such detail how the movie was made, the making of the movie, how the director directed, how the actors screwed up back then, and how, you know, well, just how things were during filming back then. It's really fascinating to see. So I recommend getting this Criterion release without a doubt. And then we have one thing left. This is Becker Season 2. You know, maybe not a show that too many people have in their collections, but I got Season 1 a while back and I really enjoyed it, so I got another one. And I've had this for a while. It took me a while to get through it because of a few different reasons, but I don't think that I'm done with these characters. It's well, it's a sitcom with Ted Danson, and it's, you know, it's not amazing, but it's pretty funny. It has some pretty good characters, and well, when I watched it, I mean, in some instances I was kind of feeling that I didn't really want to watch this show, that I'd rather watch something else. I wasn't enjoying all of this, but when the show was over, I realized that I don't think I'm done with these characters. I think I'm gonna have to get the third season eventually as well, because it is a very enjoyable show, and you know, when you've seen a few episodes of the first season, you've seen it all basically. There's nothing new that happens really. It's more of the same, in the same locations, with the same characters, the same jokes, you know, same type of jokes. Well, at least in these first two seasons, but still, you know, it is enjoyable pretty much all the way. I think there are 5 or 6 seasons, but the last season is not released on DVD. Maybe there are 7 seasons even. I don't know, but all of them but one, I believe, are released. So anyway, well, that's everything for this time. I'll be honest with you though, these types of videos, these videos, they aren't really my favorite to make, but I'll keep making them for now. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. I'm getting so sick of saying that.